Oh, hello, what's good, everybody? Joey J. Ping checking in live, respectmyregion.com, here today on another episode of the Respect My Region podcast. Today's episode actually brought to you guys by GrowWise CPAs, our premier partners in all things accounting, and they're going to help you guys make some money. So we appreciate them for supporting them in the episode today and providing the platform. I've got two very special guests. We've got Ed and Tom. Tom in the middle, Ed on the right. These are the two partners over at Fire and Oak in Mount Holly, and it's in Massachusetts. And they rocked with us last year on our 2024 North American Weed Tour. And so it's a pleasure to have you guys both back. How are we doing today, guys?
Let's do it. Good, man. Good. Happy to be here with you.
It's a pleasure to have you guys back and to welcome you guys. I know we were just talking a little offline and reconnecting. You guys, Massachusetts, it's a tough. We were just saying, between the compression and just cannabis being as volatile as it is, and everyone running deals all the time. There's only so many things we can do, and so I believe Tom, you're the one still there in the store most every day, correct?
Yeah. I try to be in there, obviously multiple times a week, and
Yep.
And boots on the ground, making sure we're keeping everything going smooth, running smoother as best as we can, right? As smooth
Absolutely.
as possible.
In terms of so with you in the location, do you see what your competitors are doing? Do you go into their stores? Are we secret shopping? Are we just supporting other groups? How do we create this awareness for the market for you guys to operate successfully? Where does that come from?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely look at, I wouldn't say physically walking into their stores so much, but definitely that's a huge part of what we're doing is always analyzing, what our competitors are doing. It just kind of allows us to get a sense of, what may be working, what maybe isn't working. And, combining what we're seeing on like their menus and on their websites and their things with all these different data platforms that are now available. Allows us to kind of gain some insights into different trends, different products that maybe we want to carry, and keep an eye on, like I said, the different competitors are utilizing the data sets that are available, and then also doing our own research on the different forums. Reddit's obviously a really good resource to kind of understand the different trends and things going on in the industry. And then also kind of doing some regular checks with the township to kind of see where numbers are at on their end, kind of get a sense of like where the market's at. And, just try to take a pretty wide approach.
And listening to the customers too. That's important, right? So we talk to our customers, we're seeing what they want, we're seeing what's selling, we're looking at our own numbers, right? Paying attention to what vendors are coming up, what vendors aren't moving, what vendors are supporting you, what vendors are not supporting you. So trying to, unfortunately, sometimes the vendors are just not pulling their weight. I know we're the conduit to get them sold, but they got to be pulling their weight too.
Absolutely.
So if sales are down, the vendors aren't stepping up, there's always somebody new coming in the market.
100%.
So paying attention and making sure we get that side checked off too.
Now, I heard this quote today when I was watching First Take and all these football players talking about, like there's a coach that was fired today, right? Tennessee. And so I'll use this, and they're just the athletes were saying that they needed to spend more time. They don't like just cutting brands in this case. They don't like just firing coaches or firing quarterbacks because they feel like it takes time, right? They feel like it takes this time. We're a couple years in, guys. Right? You've had the time. We've seen the brands. We've been able to see the effort in. So are we cutting brands too soon, or are we cutting brands appropriately because time is indicating that it's just not a good fit anymore? How does the market impact those kinds of decisions?
I would think actually maybe not cutting them and maybe this is not a popular take, but not cutting them too soon enough. There's a theory, right? What was it? Hire slow, fire quick, or something like that, but essentially be mindful of who you bring on. But if it's not working, kind of transition faster. So what we do is, right, we work with the brand. We try to make sure the assets are right, the pricing is right, the product mix is right. We bring it in, we promote it, we push it, we talk to our staff, and then we see how it performs. We don't cycle it out after one order, but 1, 2, 3 in, you start to see what the trends are, if it's not competing in its category and the only thing that moves it is price. And sometimes price doesn't even move it. We always try to work with the brand. We're like, look, man, let's work on a promo together. Let's try to get some resources together. Let's try to promote some sort of promos together. And sometimes it just doesn't work. And, it's not a brand necessarily. It could be just your geographic location, your customer demographic. Sometimes the brand and location is just not the right fit.
Yeah.
States are large. You go north, you go south, two completely different demographics, perhaps, and it doesn't work.
And I know, and what's funny is I know I said Massachusetts. That was my mistake. New Jersey being a couple years in, people always forget that New Jersey has had a strong medical market. It started off with these MSOs. It started off with these multi-location MSO retailers having the first shot at the market, and then these smaller, more independent operators, if you would. No disrespect on the smaller side, but it's hard to have hundreds of locations and not be one of those big guys, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so with you guys in New Jersey, like we're talking about that medical market. I don't know the exact date, but I do know there's that weird window of time for you guys, similar with New York. It's like 2015, 16, 17. And then MSO time is like 4 to 5 years of that. Correct? Like all the way to 21 and 22, if not correct.
Basically, there was a couple medical rounds. I think they initially issued under the Christie administration like 6 medical licenses. And then a handful of years later, I think 6 more. And then a handful of years later, like 12 more. I could be wrong, but somewhere in that nature. So where there was essentially like 24 of these, essentially you can have pretty much unlimited production, cultivation, and manufacturing capacity, and then the ability to open up 3 retail outlets. And so, those people, definitely those licenses had a ton of value. I mean, they were doing really well, but as you see the market evolves, the market changes.
It totally turned against most of those cats too, and that's me saying.
Yeah, no, I mean it's interesting. Some of them, I think, some of them are adapting and doing well, and getting back to that other point, I think as it relates to the vendors, some of it's like the partnerships with the people. I mean, who you're working with there, like, is there, like frequent communication? Dad's point, is it working? We're communicating with them, like, is there a good sell through? What price point do we need to be at to like move your product? What does the local demographic in our area look like relative to like, how are you marketing your product? And, where are you positioning your product, right? If you're a super high end product and we're in like kind of a, not like a not quite high end demographic, then it might not do well. And conversely, the opposite applies. So, I think it's just a matter of a lot of those things.
The brands that were booming and that you guys were hyped on the last time I saw you, I remember it vividly. I remember sitting in that little nook, right? And the cool, the old indica jars. Remember the medicine indica stuff? I remember being like,
right.
When I grew up in Indiana, guys, so it was like seeing old antiques and cool stuff like that. You would never really see the cannabis ones in a place like Indiana, but I just appreciate older aesthetics and those kinds of little knickknacks, if you would, antiques. And I remember that vividly, and I remember feeling like there was a ghost sitting there, right, like blowing some smoke in my face.
You and many other people think that,
right. And then walking through, there's the oak, right, and then displays. And I remember my homies Clay 9, and you guys still rock with them. You guys still got the exclusive sale in town. Similar situation.
They've done really well for us. I mean, I think they have a really good playbook. Obviously, Dave and his team been around the block. I think they have a lot of the components, which I think just lend itself to being a successful brand, a successful company. They have a good story. They have a good backstory. They have a good face of the brand. Their actual like branding and marketing is really nice. And then obviously their product is good. I mean, they've done really well. They've maintained really good sell through with us, and I think around the state. And then they also, I think, have done well in the sense that they don't just grow like 500 strains and throw them on a menu and are like, here you go. Like
he did bring in some new candies though. I saw him at Hall of Flowers.
No, he did.
And I saw some new candies on there. And then I was a little taken back because where was these candies at when we had the RMR Legacy Smalls anyways?
Right.
I'll take that issue up with Dave. I'll take that beef up with Dave.
So I think
you guys got fire there now.
I think they've done a good job of like curating. They know what works, and they keep like, maybe 75% of their stuff is like a smaller menu that they know works. It's tried and true genetics that are going to like test good all the time. They're going to produce good. People like them, and then they rotate in, 25% of their genetics. I mean, these are rough numbers, right? But, maybe 25% of their stuff is kind of newer things that they're putting in the market, see how the market reacts to it. But yeah, they've done well. I think their value proposition is good. Like I said, their branding and marketing is there, the story's there, and then the quality's there, and customers like it.
And
one of the other
out of the
verticals.
brands, Sergio, I would say out of the brands that we kind of started out with, I think they're probably one of the only ones, if not the only, to have maintained demand as, since the beginning, right? They have expanded the strain demand, and they expanded their product lines. They went into vapes and concentrates under, the concentrates in a different brand, and those sell really well too. And, unlike a lot of other folks, they didn't just drop something in the menu at like peak pricing. It looks like they did a diligence of like, okay, if we want to be in this market and we want sell through on this product, where do we need to price it so it's still competitive? We're not dropping the price out.
Yeah.
And people buy, and their vapes have been selling really well. Probably one of our top selling vapes.
Who is that again?
Clay
9.
Clay. I was just
yeah.
The vapes was throwing me up. It was making me think it was somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
They never got to the vapes here in Cali, so it's exciting to hear that they got that in Jersey. You guys are getting that Clay 9 exclusive. I love to hear that. Now, one of the other ones, Ed, that I vividly remember you guys, not to say gassing up like in a bad way, but these guys were gassed up for sure, was Hamilton when we were there. Yeah. And we actually had them on our podcast since we connected, and it was really interesting to hear what they were up to and their genetics and things like that. Are they still top tier for you guys over there?
We
got you.
It's okay. So no, look, we were, and they have a great team, and they actually, one of the newer guys there, I guess he's been there probably for 6-8 months. We had really good conversations with him. I'll say this: their quality flower is great, fantastic. Their pre-rolls, probably my favorite pre-rolls that I smoke. They're super fresh. They're done really well because it's just good product. Unfortunately, we just saw, kind of going back to the prior conversation, we just saw that in our store, in our location, maybe even Mount Holly in general, it just wasn't moving. So we tried, and we still have a few items.
Those situations don't always reflect. Two ways. It reflects on the brand 100%. It's not always the responsibility, because it's just like the order size, the town.
Right.
It has things happen.
Yeah, not every brand is working in every market.
Exactly. There's so many factors. Like we want to carry them. We love carrying them. They have really good product. Yeah. But we have to listen to what the customers are saying, and just where we were.
What a painful conversation to have sometimes, especially with the homies or people you like. I have been in those situations too. Selling selling weed here in California. They rock with me. They like the brand. They're like, maybe they had some issues in the past. Everyone's like this to some extent. It's weed, it's business. The distribution part of it is often the most frustrating part of it. And I have been on some rocky distribution situations, and they will give you guys, retailers, will give the chance. You will. But ultimately, if it still is just chance after chance and time after time, and it still sits, it's a tough situation to be in no matter what. And
you want to support the good brands.
And this goes into my next part of the conversation, Ed, is who right now are those best performing brands for your store? That way someone in Mount Holly can see this video and they can go in automatically and be like, yo, I want to see the best of the best. I heard about it. What are you guys saying right now?
Well, I will say, as kind of to piggyback off that point before, Clade is still doing really well for us. But then, definitely give a shout out to Blisco and Wonder Brett. Got a really good relationship with the team over there. And they came in, once again, I think kind of a similar game plan, right? Like really quality product, have nice branding, nice marketing. They actually grow the town over from us, which is kind of cool. Yeah, good stuff. Their genetics are good. People seem to really like it. Like I said, the packaging is nice. The branding is nice. And they're good to work with, and the flower is good, and so they've had some really good offerings, and I think they've also been able to quickly adapt to the market, and where some of these other kind of what we were talking about before, like some of the people I don't want to say aren't easy to work with, but aren't as flexible or adaptable in things. And, that's important in this industry as is ever changing. And, a week later, it could be completely different than today. Right. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, the Blisco Wonder Bread stuff is really good. Neptune's Gardens. It's nice flower. They do some really nice stuff. And we carry Bass River. They're another kind of really small craft grower. They grow in living soil. They hit the market really hard in the spring. And so, yeah, I think there's just kind of getting a hang of seeing how things roll out. And, but yeah, those are, I would say, definitely some of the brands that stick out to
Some of the
me.
heaters over there in Mount Holly at
Yes,
the 5
sir.
location. Let's go, guys. New Jersey. You got Atlantic City. You guys, right? We got Clay 9 over there, kind of towards the city, if you would, New York and all that. Then you got all these other areas, and then you got the seasonal factors that go into it. We're about to enter holiday season, for example.
Yeah.
What is October? What is November, December like for you guys there in Mount Holly? What did you guys see last year? What do you guys expect to see this year?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, look, end of year was actually really good for us last year. The Mount Holly itself, they put on a great job. They put on so many events, and it really feeds the businesses, not just us, but
Gets
it just
people
feeds
out
the
of the house.
businesses. Yeah, it's got a nice downtown. So anyone listening, come check out Mount Holly. A lot of really good vibes, some good places
Best
to eat,
parking
some
lot.
pop-up bars, great parking
Yeah.
lot. We've got a big public parking lot right in the corner, right next to us. You walk right out, cross the little pond, and you walk right into the shop. Hard to miss, So it's really nice. But what we are seeing, even with the seasonality, and people hopefully will come out more with the end of year. Like we have seen an uptick after the summer, and even fall is kind of still working its way post the summer low. You are seeing price compression, right? So, but I do think that drives people out, because I think, and by out I mean out of the house and into the stores, because prices are coming down. And they're coming down across the board. So maybe, the in-store pricing is being more competitive from the out of the store pricing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was a minute there where I felt like the pricing was a little imbalanced in terms of the quality of the flower at
Yeah.
the top end level, and then
Yeah.
in the middle and top, like the middle top, and then the true middle, and then the lower top shelves or price point. I felt like those were all 5 to 10 too high in terms
Yeah.
of relative quality. And however the brain psychologically processes that. Unfortunately, that comment is only coming because of I'm used to West Coast pricing, which is
Of
quite
course. Of
low
course.
in terms of Washington, Oregon, and California. You definitely spend money in California for good stuff. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, and I was going to say it's
in
all
all
part
the
of the
states,
cycle, the market cycle. I mean, right? Like as a year ago, New Jersey was still at its kind of infancy, especially on the rec
Yeah.
side. So, it's evolving. You're getting new growers on, new manufacturers on, production's ramping up. So yeah, it's definitely maturing and coming into its own, the New Jersey market. So
Have you guys seen much innovation in the beverage or edible space beyond, I'd say, like the Kiva products and those kinds of things?
Maybe the Gruen stuff, Tom. I think that the
yeah, I would say
they're
that's
good
probably
enough
been the biggest
ratios.
trend, would have been like these kind of like smaller format but larger dose edibles.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the limit is still 100 milligrams here in New Jersey per like package, but they market it as kind of like one piece. I mean, they're
Yeah, the Mega Pearl's 100 milligrams, for example.
right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think they're just trying to like hit that segment of the market, and that's been kind of like the newest thing. Similarly, a lot of people early on, right, everything was kind of like made with distillate. Now you're seeing some live, some solventless stuff, and also some live resin stuff, full spectrum. And but I think even those prices have come down a little bit in the last like 8 months since they've been on the market. But yeah, some cool stuffs. I mean, like the Click brand, they're pretty cool. They've got really trying to like incorporate adaptogens like cordyceps, lion's mane, things like that, and then also
Cool. So we're seeing that as a trend finally get it. Yeah, that trend.
yeah, and I mean they're also
Yeah.
using like real fruits and like kind of natural stuff. So definitely kind of taking that like wellness, holistic aspect and angle, and and then using solvent, or I guess it's full spectrum, cannabis in the gummies themselves. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think like those couple things, but nothing too crazy to the box. I mean, drink wise, you got like the mixers and stuff. A bunch of brands came in hot with those. And I think there's, people like them. There's some people that like them. Me personally, I'd rather smoke it. I'm not much on drinking it or eating it, but
I love drinking weed while I'm smoking it. I don't know, this sounds crazy too, but since I do smoke,
everybody can do their own thing,
yeah, facts. The question I'm dying to ask, and this one's more for you, Ed, because I assume that since you're traveling between two places, quality, are you up on the quality here and the quality there at the same time?
A little bit. I mean, honestly, I'm spending a lot more time on things out east than I am out
It's okay.
here.
That's okay.
I see things here and there, so I don't really not really sure who the big brands are here. I know prices that I see all the time,
Yeah,
and I
fair.
hear about
Well,
price per pound,
the
high
question was
quality, low
going to
quality.
be just which side, like if you were going to compare the two, and not obviously a who's better because that's going to be super subjective, but if you were going to
Right.
notice just some comparative things in terms of growth from a year ago, growth now, and then anything that you see compared to the West Coast. But
I mean, markets in general, or right, if you're talking markets
yeah,
in
of
general,
course,
yeah.
markets in general.
No, I mean,
You guys are owners. These perspectives is really valuable because
yeah.
people have their opinion of it, and it's important just for people to just digest and share what other people are potentially seeing.
So look, it's a really good question because I do think that the Jersey market and the California market in pure structure are very similar, right? Locally controlled, state levels, purely ministerial, right? You get your license
Mhm.
as long as you have local approval. Very similarly, like in Cali, right? A municipality opens up, they issue 6, 8, 10 million licenses. As long as you have one, you can get a state license, right? So I think there's a lot of parity there. I still see a bloodbath out in Cali. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm based in LA. I talk to a lot of people who have like those old pre-ICOs. It's the retail in the front, grow in the back. Like, man, I'm closing my retail. I'm gonna make the whole thing and grow because retail's worthless. I know a bunch of people who are, scooping up keys for 50K a pop, and you just do an asset transfer, then you get rid of the debt, and now you have a location. Whether you ever open it or not is TBD. But I still see a bloodbath out here. I think
yeah,
what I've heard is, cultivate maybe flower prices are stabilizing a little bit, but it's such an up and down market. I mean, yeah, licenses closing, capacity's going down, but I just don't see the full stabilization in Cali yet. Where Jersey's still kind of, I think, moving in the direction up. It's
yeah,
still
Yeah, I
it's
think
still
that
early. It's so much is
I think
closed.
they're a
What is it,
little
like
bit
30%?
more. I would definitely say I think they real like the legislators and the powers that be in New Jersey seem to value the industry more and take into consideration the needs and what's really going to be in the best interest of the industry and thus the best interest of the best interest of the
Yeah.
state as well, right? Like
yeah,
obviously you're taxing these companies into oblivion, right? You're eventually going to lose jobs, right? You're going to lose revenue from taxes because they're not going to be paying taxes if they're not making any money. So I think New Jersey just seems to have, knock on wood, but the regulators and powers that be I think, are a little bit more receptive to understanding the needs of the industry, and it's
They
not
just
realizing it's not necessarily some cash
yeah.
cow. You're gonna like go in and
It's just a
so
better
that's
business environment as a whole. As a
right.
whole, New Jersey is just a better business environment. It's easier to operate in. Yes, there's compliance requirements, but it's just generally easier to operate in. The tax structure is much better,
The
where
tax
more
structure
where
is easier.
more of the basket goes to the actual retailer. I mean, it's straight sales tax and 2% municipal tax. It's basically it. There's
yeah.
tax and cultivation, but at retail, there's really nothing. So the
Now,
basket is the basket.
with all of these green flags and the basket or being what it is, right, in terms of the situation and how A B equals C in this case, um, we have seen markets with different situations and everyone having their own game and style to play their own set of rules. We've seen history repeat itself in numerous places. Knowing what you just described for California, does that do you think hot take, do you think New Jersey will avoid it altogether, or hot take, when do you think that potentially arrives?
I think
Go ahead, Tom.
I was just
You
gonna
you
say,
hit
I
it off.
think look, you're gonna see price compression, like that's inevitable, and
Because
that's
that's a
already
that's a
happening.
flag for it going the other way, right?
Yeah.
That's an
But
indicator.
But like price compression in and
Also
of itself
normal.
is manageable, and you can deal with it, and that's to be
Yeah.
expected. If you've been like any of the three of us, been in the industry or watched the industry or studied the industry at all, and really just kind of studied basic business stuff, like that's fine. The price compression, lowering the prices, increased competition, that's okay. I think what hurts states like California and then now Michigan is like when on top of that you layer this crazy burdensome tax structure, and then that to add on
And that's
obviously like
something you guys avoid
federal
altogether
the
mostly.
federal, stuff with 280E. So I think luckily New Jersey has that going for it, assuming they keep the current like kind of tax structure and kind of thing. Like, yeah, you're going to see a lot of the same trends, but at the same time, I think that in and of itself makes it so much more manageable as markets begin to mature, prices compress a little bit. If you don't have that onerous, that tax burden that some of these states have, that makes all the difference in the world, right? That's a huge. You're talking about like in Michigan, what was it, 24% or whatever tax that they just trying to implement. I mean, that's
California just rejected the increase for them as well.
Yeah.
that's crazy. Like to Ed's point, we're paying essentially a 2% tax in New Jersey on our top line sales. So
Wow.
keeping things like that, like manageable, I think is the key to the market playing out in a sustainable manner.
That's the factor, right? But then there's also the internal factors, right? You would think, Joey, to your point, we've seen this play out across at least a dozen states, right?
Yeah.
You would think
Every single West Coast state, Arizona, New Mexico,
the
Colorado, that's 6.
Arizona's having crazy and now right now it's really bad
Yeah.
out there. The price compression is nuts in Arizona right now. Massachusetts went through it, like every state, right? Illinois maybe kind of stayed stable because they're a really limited market in terms of how many licenses, even though they had the lotteries a couple of years back, but still pretty limited market. But you're going to see the same thing, but you would just hope that the people that are coming into this market or any subsequent market, they would have the sense of like, hey, okay, either they're going to hit it hard and they're going to knock it out of the park and sell within first 6 months, or like, hey, I'm going to build a sustainable business. I'm not going to drop 2 million on a build out, knowing like, wait a minute, my store may not do 25 million a year for 5 years. Okay, what's my bottom number? How lean can I operate? So if you build out a sustainable business and you don't overspend to where your debt is just going to crush you in a couple of years, and then you're going to have to do crazy sales and drive the price bottom in your area, well, then you're going to survive if you treat it like a regular business. So the government is the government. I mean, it's great that everyone blames the state, the local municipalities. You could blame that, but ultimately, you choose which municipality you operate in, and you choose how you operate and your cost basis. So
Yeah.
there's got to be hope. You hope that this market
There is
gives
a
internal
balance in the
accountability.
responsibility of it, and I'll be frank, fellas. I tell this to pretty much everybody. I'm a patient who's had kidney stones over 15 times. I'm sick. I'm nauseous. I'm like my insides rough situation for me. Just exist and be the Joey that everybody gets. Do I really care about this law or that, or do I just need cannabis available to keep me out of the ER? Do I
Right.
really care about
Yeah. I
any
mean,
of those problems realistically and respectfully that you guys go through to be a business, or do I just need it to be legal to some capacity for me and my mom because we suffer from the same thing?
Right.
That's to my core. That's what I feel and believe in those moments. But what we try to emulate and live it and navigate is all of these different nuances, right?
yeah, for
And the
sure.
balance of that. And I think that's where Joey, the cannabis industry individual, wants fair, wants competition, wants the best, wants affordable, wants
Yeah.
accessible. When more people join, price goes down. There's going to be this weird balance of that. I mean, dollar stores exist for a reason. There'll probably be dollar weed stores down the road, and I got no problem with that because there's versions of that. For every dollar weed store, I would love a dab store that has high end dabs and high end rosin products only. That way, I don't have to go in and there can be a chance that somebody sells me live resin on accident because they don't know
Yeah.
the difference. You know what I mean? I'd love curated to a perfect level, but we're not there yet, and it'll take time. One of the interesting things that you guys got me thinking about was this 2%, right? This 2% you guys have. A reverse hot take. Do these other states have a better chance if that's what it is? Do we see as much carnage over here on the West Coast and in Massachusetts, in Michigan,
Mm.
if that was switched to mimic or imitate what New Jersey's doing?
Well,
It would
no, I
probably
think
slow
that was
down. It would
yeah,
slow
that
down,
was
right?
You
that was the
guys are
point.
great. This is great. You guys
Yeah,
are
well,
both talking
please
at the
do
same
it. Please do it. Get rid of it.
time. Tom, you first. Tom, you first. What do
No,
you
no, I
got?
was gonna say that was the point that I was making is like, you know, making sure you have a sustainable business, operating lean, not spending crazy out of the gate on a build out. Um, you know, all that stuff is within your control and is manageable. You know, when you're talking about like external factors like, you know, tax rates, that's something that, you know, when you're talking about these really, you know, cumbersome tax rates, that's something that like is very hard to deal with. And as
It
prices compress
suffocates creativity and opportunity.
as prices
Yeah.
compress, that becomes even a larger challenge.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I think the price compression and you know the market maturing and increased competition is all something that's easily, you know, if you plan right and you do your due diligence and you kind of have the right mindset going into it and operate the right way from the beginning, kind of like Ed was alluding to before, you're fine. But you know, when you add on kind of crazy tax rates, it just so yeah, to answer your question, I think definitely I think those states would be in better positions, their markets would be in better positions if they had a tax structure more similar to New Jersey, without a doubt. I
Yeah.
mean, without a doubt.
40% versus 2.
I mean,
Yeah, well,
looking
exactly right. You go into LA, I don't know I haven't been out there in a while, but you know, you're paying 30 cents on the dollar. You know, you walk out of the store, you buy $100 quarter or something, you're paying an additional, you know, $30 for that to
Yeah.
walk out the
100%.
door. New Jersey, it's like, you know, with the sales tax and the thing, it's what, 8% or something. So, you know, it's not insignificant to your point as a consumer, right? Just give me my weed. Like, I don't want to, I'm
Yeah,
not
I'll
worried.
take a $3 tax for my $30 eighth
Right.
instead of, you know, 12.
15. Right.
12 to
Yeah.
15, right? All in. Okay, so I just want to hear you guys say it and make it simple, clear for those people that are potentially watching, maybe in case a legislator ever watches or these people that are voting ever watch. And we try
you
to
can
get
call
that.
us. Happy to help.
It's
Yeah.
important,
Right.
man. It's important there. Circling back to the brands and the products in the store that are doing well and growing the business, I want to take a moment to again shout out our sponsor. Big shout out to GrowWise CPAs, our partners for all things accounting. These guys don't just manage money, guys. They actually they want you guys to grow your business and to make decisions that do that. And that's where this next segment is going to be dedicated to that and powered by them, right? So, fellas, New Jersey price compression. We've got more products, more brands, quality is all going up, but you can't obviously have the best weed at the lowest prices all the time, right? It just can't be $5, $10, $15 eights, whatever it is, and be top tier indoor. That's not a balance that will happen. So my question to you guys is from the buying side, and so the customers can understand, bring some clarity to balancing buying the products that you guys decide to buy and the data sets that you guys were referencing and how you guys make the decisions. How did we end up with the menu we have today for Mount Holly?
I mean, I think it's a combination of a bunch of things, right? We try to curate a menu that's going to be a little bit unique from our local competitors. B, has some different offerings for kind of a wide variety of people, mainly obviously who's in our area and the demographic that we're able to serve within a reasonable 5-10 mile radius. Products that we personally like, whether it's, not just Ed and I, but our staff, we really take a lot of input from our team. We're big on that, having a really collective approach. And we have a lot of heady people in the shop and people that, really are interested in this. Like most people in the industry that get into working in cannabis is because they're interested in cannabis. They're not doing it just because they have nothing better to do. Right. So I think it's a matter of that. And then the value proposition, and then lastly, I would say just working with people that are good people and easy to work with. And increasingly as the market matures, that's super important to us. Right. I think also finding brands that align kind of with what we're going for and maybe either our branding or just kind of where we want to see ourselves, and brands that we want to align with. So that's kind of been a little bit about how we've done it. And, obviously always, we like to talk to our customers too and see, hey, is there something that you like that you're not seeing here? Or, what do you think of kind of, we're big on that. We have a really good rapport. We got a lot of regular customers. And, try to curate the menu in a manner that's really going to have a good amount of offerings, whether that's different price points, different qualities, different variety of products, and different form factors. I don't know, Ed, I mean?
And I've got a second question to ask on top of that. I think he definitely covered it. And I know you guys obviously share very similar aligned views on all that. But in terms of support, right, and brand alignment, that's the key thing I got out of that is brand alignment. All these things have to go and be aligned. There's a lot of factors, right?
Right.
That from the data to the customers to the feedback to the timing, all these different things, the points that he made. What are you looking for, Ed, in terms of aligning from a brand, but from a support perspective? You mentioned that earlier in the show.
Yeah.
Support.
Yeah.
Who's supporting? What does that look like for you guys as we get into Halloween? What does that look for as we get into Black Friday, Green Wednesday,
Sure.
and Christmas, and all the different, not the different, all the different, but like the Jewish holidays, all these different things that are very important, more so than ever.
I mean, look, it's always great when a brand comes to you and says, here are all my brand assets for the next month, next holiday. Here are the promotions that we're running.
Oh,
Here's where we
smart.
can work together. Call us, right?
Get ahead
It's
of the
always
curve.
exactly. It's always best when they come to you because we're owner operator. There's so many things going on. We will reach out to you, right, when we're ready. But it's always best when you already have it ready and you give it to us,
Facts.
right?
Facts.
We work
Facts.
it in. We already got it covered. Easy,
Great
gone, right?
advice.
Secondarily, we can have those conversations about, hey, look, this moved, this didn't move. Can you help us move this? Let's work it together. Let's run a, buy 2/8, get whatever it is creative to elevate the brand presence, but also get rid of things that just didn't move in our area and them understanding it, not treating us or
We,
any of the other accounts the same way, no matter where they
yeah,
are. And I think from, even either big retailers or brands, similarly, each location is different. Each demographic is different. Each sell through is going to be different. And you can't really treat everyone the same way. Or at
absolutely.
least you have to learn. You have to learn what the patterns are like. So those are the kind of brands, the brands that it sounds like that communicate, brands that kind of sharing your vision of growing together and being profitable together, brands that understand that it takes more than just, hey, I have a menu, buy my stuff and sell it. That's where it really cultivates a good long-term relationship to when a brand calls us, be like, hey, I know you got that order that week. I got this. I can't move these pre-rolls. You want to take them and I'll help you move them? Yeah, we'll help you if you help us. And that's kind of what it comes down to. I think Joey's blinking for a really long time, or
Yeah.
we may have lost him.
It's us and the CPAs.
Well, we'll give Joe a minute.
Oh, I thought I just saw him pop for a second.
Hello. You hear me all right?
Yeah,
We got it. We're back.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I just started hearing the wind turned up like crazy here. We're having some crazy storm right now. I got the citizen notification a little bit ago. Duck and cover, hurricane winds in LA.
Yeah, right?
Oh, there he goes again. I think honestly, it's either power outage or internet outage is gonna go at some point soon.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you don't hear tornado warnings in Los Angeles too often.
Remember, like the first time I really experienced a earthquake, I kind of thought it was someone trying to like knock on our door or break in because I was like laying in my bed and I just hear like kind of like the window like shaking or like rattling or like someone's pounding on it. And then I come to find out they're like, oh no, that was an earthquake.
I think Joey's responding to you with his facial expression that's frozen. That's exactly how you felt, probably.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, I remember when I moved out here, the first earthquake I had, that was also pretty wild. It was like a 4.4. It was centered not too far away from like West LA. Man, didn't want to feel that again. Like maybe go back to the East Coast based on that. But yeah, listen, hopefully, while I wait for Joey, I mean, if this is still live, hopefully we're, in terms of Jersey, hopefully we don't see anytime soon what California's experience. But to his point, the lower tax rate really does help the longevity of the industry.
I mean,
it will definitely continue to compress because there's going to be more capacity, but hopefully the retail locations will keep opening at the same clip so they can absorb that capacity, so prices don't compress too much. But again, one of the best things
Yeah.
about Jersey is the cost structure, where more of the basket goes to the retailer, and they're able to continue operating with some level of profit, because where so much of the basket just goes to taxes. It's really
And
difficult.
even the cultivator too, right? It's easy for some of these smaller cultivators to just start up and then just to run their business.
Fellas, sorry about that. We
Oh,
just
you're
lost.
good.
I had to join on the hotspot. I guess we lost internet entirely here at the
I was
house.
gonna
But
say.
those
Oh,
those palm tree fronds are attacking the house, dude. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Crazy out here. No, as I was saying, man, this is really, really great to have you guys on the show. I appreciate the conversation. Apparently, since we're having some of the technical difficulties, we'll call it an episode. But I just first
All
and
right
foremost,
on.
I just wanted to say thank you guys, man. It's been great to chat with you guys about
yeah,
some of the
man.
popular brands that are relevant for you guys now, and some of the different products, and to hear some of the difference between here and there as well, and where we're at. You guys gave some really great advice today, and for that, I think to anybody watching that's either running a store or potentially, wants to get into it, this is very valuable game, fellas. And so, big shout out to you all for
Thanks, man.
doing it.
Appreciate it.
What do we
Always a
have?
pleasure, Joey.
Since I do have you and it is still good to go, at least for the second. My last question for you guys: what do we have coming up for Mount Holly times Fire and Oak? What's on the horizon? You guys got anything going on for the end of the month and into the next month's holidays?
We do. I mean, one of the things we've been doing, actually, maybe since the last time we were on, but we do some events kind of quarterly. We do them with like other local merchants, particularly like one of the local coffee shops. We do a bunch of stuff with them.
Sick.
We have like a yoga sesh coming up. We did one prior. It was a really, big hit, really good success. And then we have another movie night coming up. You can check all that info out on our
Yeah.
social media. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Obviously, our website.
And we're
Check
going to
us
get an
out.
article up about that to support too. So we're going to set that up.
Sick,
after.
bro.
Word.
I appreciate that, man.
Appreciate it. But yeah, man, really doing a lot with the community, trying to integrate as best we can into the community. I think that's served us well. So
I love that. I love that for you guys. Well, fellas, appreciate y'all. We'll talk a little bit offline. For everybody watching, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. You guys can talk shit about me, but make sure you guys pull up to New Jersey, pull up to Mount Holly, and go support these guys, man. They're in that small town vibe. It's really at a different pace, and it takes you out of this big city energy. It takes you out of this hustle and bustle and the drama online and on TV and the internet and whatever else. Like, it's one of those, go get a joint, go walk around, go grab a slice of pizza. You know what I mean? Go grab a coffee, hang out, breathe the fresh air, enjoy life a little bit. I appreciate you guys all for watching, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Shout out to Grow Wise CPAs for the episode, and we'll catch you next time, everybody.